A man's destiny, some say, is written in the stars. All he'll ever do, all he'll ever love, all he'll ever be, the whole of his life is inscribed in the heavens, some say. Others claim to see the truth in other places. In a deck of cards, the palm of a hand, a crystal ball, or the bottom of a cup. Perhaps it's in all of those. Perhaps none of them. For my part, the only glimpses of the future fate ever provided were in men's faces. There I've read passion, greed, hatred, envy, and knowing what had been, knew also what had to be. So many faces. Too many. And most of them not very pleasant. The face of Sir Harry Wotton, rich, idle, bored with life. A man who, to use his own words, knew the price of everything, the value of nothing. The face of Basil Hallward, a kind and generous man, a superb painter, as good a friend as I ever knew. So many faces to read the future in, their futures and my own.
Harry, I wasn't expecting you.
Precisely why I'm here. Nobody's heard from you for weeks, Basil. They're wondering what's happened.
Oh, you see, I've been quite busy.
I could have guessed that much. A new work. Must be something rather special.
Harry, wait. Don't.
You don't want me to see it?
No. That is, not till it's finished.
You're being most mysterious today, Basil. I wonder why. Oh, I say. Why, this is excellent. Really excellent. I think it may be the best thing you've ever done.
Yes, I feel sure that it is.
When it's finished, you must send it to the Grosvenor. Yes, the Grosvenor's the only place. The Academy is so large and vulgar. Whenever I've been there were either so many people who couldn't see the pictures, which was dreadful, or so many pictures you couldn't see the people, which was worse.
Actually, I don't think I'd send it anywhere.
Not send it anywhere. What odd fellows you artists are. You do anything in the world to gain a reputation, and once you have, you seem to want to throw it away. It's very foolish of you. There's only one thing worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about.
I really can't exhibit it, Harry. It's hard to say why. Put so much of myself into it. Something happened to me while painting. Some strange force seemed to be guiding my brush. It's almost as if I was painting my own soul. I knew you'd laugh. It's true all the same.
Who is your subject, by the way? Have I met him?
You haven't.
What's his name?
I don't think I'll tell you.
Well, tell me. But why shouldn't you?
For one thing, he wouldn't interest you. He's a very simple, very innocent young man.
Oh, really? Well, then perhaps you're right. All the same, there is something about your young friend that fascinates me. Oh, come, you know I can keep a secret. I'm a married man, and the one charm of marriage is that it makes a life of deception absolutely necessary.
I'd rather you didn't know. I don't want you to meet him. Your influence would be bad.
Oh, thank you for the compliment. I know I do like persons better than principles, and I like persons with no principles better than anything else in the world. Oh, come, don't be tiresome. Tell me his name.
Mr. Dorian Gray is here, sir.
Ask him to wait in the library.
Very good, sir.
Oh, Parker, just a moment. Some new young friend. Someone I should know.
You may show Mr. Gray in, Parker.
Yes, sir.
What nonsense you do talk, Basil. I expect the young gentleman in question is one of these charming, brainless types, the delight of hostesses in search of a table setting. They're most valuable in the winter. There are no flowers.
The stars, the cards, the human face. What good does it do to read the future in any of them if the words cannot be changed? And if they cannot, then only one question remains. Who does the writing? If I knew the answer to that, if I could be sure, then I would know whether to curse God for what my life has been, or praise the devil.
Surely you must have met Lady Brandon by now. She gives more dinners than anyone else in London. The food, at least, is excellent. Poor dear. She wanted to establish a salon and succeeded only in opening a restaurant.
Yes, I think I met her. She has rather a shrill voice, hasn't she?
She is a peacock in everything but beauty.
Dorian, please, I'm almost finished. Harry, really, I must beg you. I want to finish this sitting. Do you mind if I ask you to go away now?
Oh, of course, if I'm disturbing you, I'll be delighted to leave. That is, if Mr. Gray will excuse me.
No. No, I won't. You must stay and talk to Mr. Harry. Basil, you don't really mind, do you? You've often told me you like your subjects to have someone to chat to. Sir Harry has been telling me about some friends of his in the theatre.
Sir Harry is an evil influence. Pay him no mind.
Is it true, Sir Harry,
What?
that you're an evil influence?
Of course. All influences are evil, Mr. Gray.
Why do you say that?
Because to influence someone is to change their true course in life. You become the echo of somebody else's music, an actor in a part that was written for somebody else. The aim of life is self-development, to realize one's own nature perfectly. And the highest of all duties is the duty we owe ourselves.
Surely there's something higher. Ethics, morality.
No, only terror. The terror of society, which is the basis of morality, and the terror of God, which is the secret of religion. It takes courage, Mr. Gray, to realize one's own nature fully and completely. The bravest man among us is afraid of himself, of his desires. And we are punished for our refusals. Every impulse we strangle broods in the mind and poisons us. You, Mr. Gray, you yourself have had passions that made you afraid, thoughts that have filled you with terror, daydreams and dreams asleep, the very memory of which can make you tremble.
There. At last. Finished. All but a bit of the background. I can work that up later. Thank you, Dorian. More than I can say. I don't know what Harry's been telling you, but it must have been interesting. You haven't moved.
Oh, I was simply explaining to Mr. Gray that the easiest way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it.
You know you don't mean that.
Well, the value of an idea has nothing to do with the sincerity of the man who expresses it. You are glad you've met me, Mr. Gray.
Yes. I'm glad I've met you. I wonder, shall I always be glad?
Now, what's this? Not in bed yet. My mind, it's after 6 o'clock already. Now what?
I want to see Dory.
Very well. You may tell your Uncle Dory good night.
I say, you have been busy of late. When did this happen?
Ah, Beatrice. Poor child. She's my younger brother's daughter. He and his wife were touring the continent last summer. An inn where they were staying burnt during the night.
Oh, I am sorry, Basil. I hadn't heard.
Well, she's come here to stay with me, and I hope she'll be happy. She loves Dorian, of course.
How could she help it?
You promise now?
I won't forget.
You must wait until I'm all grown up. And then we shall be married.
All right.
Well, it appears you're spoken for.
It does, doesn't it?
Now, come along. You must get your sleep if you're going to grow up quick and marry Dorian. You haven't looked at your picture yet. Don't you want to?
Oh, yes. Is it really finished?
Well?
Do I look like that?
Let me tuck Beatrice in, then we'll have a drink. Say goodnight, dear.
Good night, Dory.
One would think that you had never seen yourself before, Mr. Gray.
I feel as though I never have.
The gods have been good to you. They've given you youth and beauty, the only things worth having. The world belongs to you for a season. Unhappily, what the gods give, they quickly take away. You have only a few years in which to live fully and completely. And when youth is gone, you will find that you have no triumphs left. Time is jealous of you. Time will have its revenge. Each month, as it wanes, brings you closer to something dreadful. Our limbs fail. Our senses decay. We degenerate into hideous puppets haunted by memories. The memory of passions we were afraid to gratify, of temptations we hadn't the courage to yield to. Youth, Dorian. There is absolutely nothing in the world but youth.
Well, shall we have a whiskey? I think we've earned it. And you do like it? Good, I'm glad. Most of the credit is yours, you know. You're the best subject I've ever had. You do like it?
Well, of course he likes it. Why shouldn't he? He's a very lucky young fellow.
How sad.
What? What do you mean?
How sad it is. I shall grow old, but this picture will remain always young. My hair will turn gray, my skin will wrinkle, my teeth will rot, while my picture remains exactly as it is now. If only it were the other way.
Dorian.
If it were I who would remain always young, and the picture would grow old. For that, I would give everything.
Dorian.
Yes, everything. For that, I would even give my soul.
To long life.
For days after that fateful meeting at Basil's studio, Sir Harry's words seemed to ring in my mind. The aim of life is to realize one's nature perfectly. But what did that mean? What was my nature? How could I find out? One thing I did understand. Time is jealous, Harry had said, and what the gods give, they quickly take away.
Lord Wooton is here, sir.
Ah, good.
Are you going to be late again this evening, sir?
I do hope so, Victor. Oh, don't scowl, sir. I shall be in excellent company. The very best. I had begun spending as much time as possible with Harry. He introduced me into the best homes in London. Of course, my family name and income assured my welcome in such places. But only Harry's sponsorship could have gained me such quick acceptance.
Didn't I see you and Harry at the opera, Mr. Gray? Lohengrin, I think it was. Oh, I love Wagner. He's so loud one can talk the whole time.
Harry's world was by no means limited to expensive homes and exclusive clubs. As well known as he was among the elite, he was equally welcome in places the elite hardly knew existed. Only a few special friends were privileged to go with Harry to these places.
Place your bets on 12. All bets down, all bets down. Number six, the winner.
I found that I had more than mere ability to participate in such pleasures. I shared my companion's taste for them. It was only a little while till such excitements became natural to me and a necessary part of my life.
You must buy me champagne or I shall be angry with you for staying away so long.
You see, gentlemen, women treat us exactly the way humanity treats its gods. They worship us, but they're always asking us to do things for them. Oh, all right, champagne it shall be. Or what passes for champagne in this establishment. I say, you girl, 2 bottles of champagne.
Oh, there's a lump.
I say, did you hear me?
Sir?
I said bring 2...
Yes, sir. Champagne.
Just a minute, my girl.
Sir?
I haven't seen you here before. New, aren't you? I thought so.
Please, sir, my wrist.
What's your name?
Here, you're hurting her.
Shut up. I asked you your name.
It's Sybil, sir.
Let her go.
Sybil what?
I said let her go.
When I'm ready.
Dorian, stop it!
You answer for that.
At your pleasure.
Be silent, both of you. You can stand sordid behavior and sordid surroundings, but not both. I won't have friends of mine quarreling over a barmaid. Now let's hear no more about this. Dorian, sit down.
Excuse me.
Dorian.
Well, he seems taken by the wench. Who would have believed it? I thought our Dorian was far too sensible.
On the contrary, he's far too wise not to do foolish things every now and then.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you. Can't understand. He knew we were coming. It's not like Dorian to forget.
Dorian isn't much like Dorian these days, haven't you noticed?
No, but of course I haven't seen much of him recently.
Nor has anybody else, except for a certain young woman.
Really? Are you under the impression that he's in love?
Oh, no, but he is. Has he even mentioned marriage?
Who's the girl? Do I know her?
I shouldn't think so. It's unlikely he would have visited the place she works at.
Works?
As a barmaid.
Impossible.
but quite true.
I don't believe it. Think of Dorian's birth, his position. It would be absurd for him to marry so far beneath him.
If you want to make absolutely certain that he does, just tell him that. Whenever a person does something thoroughly foolish, you can be sure it's from noble motives. Oh, of course, marriage would be silly, but there are other more interesting bonds between men and women. I shall certainly encourage those.
Harry! Basil, I'm sorry I'm late, but if you knew where I'd been and who I was with, you'd forgive me.
Then I suppose you must be forgiven.
You know? You can guess. Then you must know too, as Harry told you.
He mentioned a girl.
Oh, so much more than that. An angel, say, or a princess. Only she has more youth and beauty than either. She's going to be an actress. She has the most wonderful voice. She did Juliet for me the other day, and her voice was like a distant flute. It had the tremulous ecstasy one hears just before dawn when the nightingales are singing. Harry, why did you never tell me the only thing worth loving is an actress?
Perhaps because I have loved so many of them.
Now you're laughing at me. But the greatest romance of my life.
No, I'm not. But you shouldn't say the greatest romance of your life. You should say the first. You will always be loved. This is only the beginning.
What? You think me so shallow?
Oh, on the contrary. It's people who love only once that I call shallow. What they call faithfulness, I prefer to call either lethargy or lack of imagination.
That's rubbish, Harry.
I must analyze faithfulness one day. I think it has to do with our passion for property. There are so many things we would throw away if we weren't so afraid other people would pick them up.
Well, I've no time for such nonsense. I just stopped to see my painting hung.
Painting? Basil, I'm a selfish ass. You give me your finest piece of work, come in person to see it hung properly, and all I can do is talk about myself. I'm sorry.
I understand.
It's a wonderful picture. I'm deeply grateful.
And I'm glad. I hope that you and your young lady will be very happy.
Oh, you must meet her.
I look forward to it. Goodbye, Harry.
What are you smiling at? I wish I'd never told you about Sybil Vane. It's obvious you don't understand.
Dorian, you couldn't help telling me. All through your life, you will tell me everything you do.
Yes. You have a curious influence over me. If ever I were to do a crime, I would come and confess it to you. You would understand me.
People like you don't commit crimes, Dorian, though I am much obliged for the compliment. Now, tell me, what are your actual relations with Sybil Vane? Now, if you tell me that you haven't made love to her yet, I will be really confused.
Are you suggesting...
Oh, Dorian, stop it. You know perfectly well what you want from this girl. Why not admit it? And once you've succeeded with her, I wager you'll find her a terrible bore.
You're wrong, Harry. She isn't what she seems. You only think these things because of where you first saw her. She belongs to an entirely different world to that.
Oh, really? And you? What world do you belong to, Dorian? Because you're quite right, you know. There are two. When I first met you, you knew only the world of polite illusion, charm, elegance, chivalry. I have shown you another world. Not so pretty, perhaps, but far more real. I think you prefer it. And so I'll wager, does Miss Sybil Vane?
No.
Oh, really? The next time you see your Juliet, ask her to come home with you. And if she refuses, threaten never to see her again.
I didn't know till now just how cynical you could be, Harry.
Oh, don't worry. She won't refuse.
She won't have to. This is one relationship I have no intention of degrading.
Of course not. Curious, isn't it? In love, We begin by deceiving ourselves and end by deceiving others. Fin de siècle. Oh, and don't forget, we're dining with the Vandeleurs Thursday night.
No, Dorian. Please don't.
Why not?
We mustn't, truly. My, look at the sun. It's getting that late. I fancy we must start back soon. Oh, Dorian, why don't you come have supper with us? Mum's ever so keen to meet you.
Suppose I asked you to come with me instead?
Come with you where?
To my house, to stay the night. Well, why not? We love each other, don't we? At least you say you do. And if you do, well, do you find me repulsive?
Why are you doing this, Dorian? Why?
Because I have the right. We're going to be married, aren't we? Or are we? If we are, your answer should be simple. You'll come to my house tonight, not later than 10 o'clock.
This was wrong, and I knew it. I should have gone back to her and apologized. I nearly did. Then I remembered the things that Harry had said and decided to wait. A few hours at any rate. Until 10 o'clock. The hour came and passed. I admit to having felt disappointment, regret for what might have been. On the other hand, Sir Harry had proved wrong for once. For once, my judgment, my instinct was vindicated. Tomorrow I'd tell him so. It would be some consolation. And of course I would go to Sybil and explain, throw myself at her feet if necessary and beg her forgiveness. She'd have to forgive me. It was all Harry's fault. I could see that now, and I would tell him so frankly. As a matter of fact, I would tell him so now. It was early yet, he'd still be at the club most likely. There was no reason to wait.
I love you, Dorian.
My nose says you are very wicked, Lord Wooden.
Oh, it's outrageous. The way people insist on saying things behind one's back that are absolutely true.
You needn't worry. Women love men to have their defects. If a man has enough of them, we can positively worship him.
A man, on the other hand, can be happy with any woman, so long as he doesn't love her.
Oh, for shame, Lord Wooden. Women give men the very gold of their lives.
And invariably want it back in such very small change.
Do you know her?
She's beautiful.
And dangerous.
Intriguing.
How's Miss Vane?
Well, I suppose.
Don't you know?
Fact is, I haven't seen her for several days. A few weeks, actually.
A few weeks?
Now, don't you chide me. I get enough of that from her. She writes every day. She can't seem to understand I've been very busy of late.
I don't think that I do. You speak so coldly of her now. I suppose this is more of Harry's doing?
I owe Harry a lot. I've developed because of him. New thoughts, new feelings, new interests.
And are these things good, Dorian?
They're real. Our lives are too short to waste. Why not fill them with beauty? Accept happiness as the truest form of good.
And are you happy?
Ah, there you are. Hello, Basil. Someone wants to meet you, dear fellow. Can you spare a moment?
Who is it?
You will excuse us, won't you? Come along. I'll introduce you. Here we are. Forgive me if I don't join you.
Forgive me for taking you away from your friends. I only wanted to say good night.
So early?
I'm afraid so. I find large groups fatiguing.
In that case, you're wise to retire.
Do you think so?
Oh, definitely.
You're very sympathetic. I thought you would be. From the moment I saw you, I thought, here is someone who will understand. Someone kind. Someone gentle.
Oh, good morning, miss.
Is he,
I'm sorry, miss.
I'm sorry to keep bothering you this way. He still hasn't returned. Would you give him this when you see him?
Why, certainly, miss.
It's the last. I won't bother you again.
Victor! Victor!
Dorian!
Oh, you must forgive me. I've just returned. Last night, in fact.
Dorian?
I'd ask you in, only I'm afraid everything is... Sybil! Damn. Victor! Bring me some coffee, will you?
Yes, sir.
And Victor, if the young lady should return, I am not at home.
She's come so
I
often.
am still not here.
Very good, sir. The lady left this for you, sir.
Oh, God. Why did she have to pursue me? Couldn't she understand that things weren't the same? I was still fond of her, of course. Grateful. Why couldn't she accept that? Why instead did she continue to plague me, continue to make demands on me? She would end by forcing me to hate her. Couldn't she understand there was more to my world now than the love of a barmaid? The picture. There was something strange about the picture. It seemed different.
Your coffee, sir.
Will there be anything else, sir?
No. No, you can go now. Oh, go!
Had he seen? Was there anything to see? Was it my imagination? Or had it really changed? It couldn't have. No, perhaps there was some impurity in the paint, a flaw in the canvas. If so, why did only the mouth seem changed? Only the twist of lips that lent cruelty to the face. Had it been there before? There had to be some explanation. I'd ask Basil of it. I'd have him come and look. But not tonight. Tonight I would go and see Sybil. Since it meant so much to her, I'd grant her request. It would have been cruel not to. Ah, no. Tonight I was to meet Harry at the opera. I'd promised. He was bringing someone special. Tomorrow, then. I would see Sybil without fail tomorrow.
Victor, draw my bath and put out my dinner jacket. I'll be going out this evening.
My dearest one, I don't know what I've done, what ignorant or foolish thing I may have said to hurt you, but I didn't mean it. You know I'd never do anything to make you sad. Please, tell me how to make it up to you. I will make it up, I promise. Even if it takes a lifetime. For I've promised to spend all my life loving you. You must come tonight. I'll wait where we used to meet. Please don't fail me this time, in heaven's name, don't. I can't bear not hearing from you anymore, not seeing your dear face, not knowing what you want of me, or even if you do anymore.
Dorian, open the door. It's no good shutting yourself away like this. Do you hear me?
What the devil's the matter? Come here.
I came as soon as I could. I'm terribly sorry, old man, but you mustn't blame yourself.
Blame myself?
For the girl, Sybil.
What about her?
Oh, you haven't heard yet.
Harry, what is it? Nothing's happened to her. Oh, God, no, Harry.
Now, steady. I thought you would have heard. It was in the morning papers. She drowned.
It wasn't an accident. No.
So I've murdered Sybil Vane.
Oh, nonsense. It wasn't your fault at all.
You don't know, Harry. You don't know what I did to her. I murdered her as surely as if I'd used a knife. And yet I loved her once. She was everything to me. Oh, God, Harry, what shall I do? You don't know the danger I'm in. Why did she do this to me? She had no right.
Dorian. It's futile to dwell on it. You'll only do yourself harm and the girl no good. There'll be an inquest, I'm afraid. Do her people know you? The family?
I never met her mother. Her brother lives in Australia.
Oh, good. Then with any luck, you'll be able to keep out of it. Let's hope so. It's quite all right to debut with a scandal in Paris, but not in London. The best thing for you to do is to come and have dinner with me tonight. It'll keep your mind occupied.
Not tonight.
Oh, well, if you should change your mind, I'll be at the club. Goodbye, Dorian.
No. There was no longer any doubt. The picture was changing. How or why, I didn't know. But the lines around its mouth and eyes had grown deeper, crueler. As though it knew of Sybil's death and was accusing me. Me? It wasn't true. I hadn't killed her. This way. Anywhere. Careful. Very good. My man will pay you. If only it were the other way. If it were I who would remain always young, and the picture would grow old. For that, I would even give my soul. Impossible. Could it be? Could those few careless words have anything to do with what has happened?
No!
I would not believe it. And yet, if this thing is true, it means that for every year I live, the picture will age. For every sin I commit, it will change, not I. For a moment I had an urge to pray, to ask that whatever bond there was between it and me would be broken. But this need not be a bad thing. The picture could be my conscience. As a matter of fact, it would be interesting to observe the changes in it. If those harsh lines in the face reproached me for my thoughtlessness with Sybil, then why could I not erase them with some better action? I resolved to do so. It would help me to lead a better life, guide me in my decisions, my relationships with others. It had been some time since I had placed the picture in the nursery, and I had not once troubled to look at it. After all, I saw no reason to. Not that I feared what might have happened with the painting. I didn't. Of course, I was aware that my actions were less than perfect, but after all, they differed little from my contemporaries. But at last, I knew that the time had finally come. I could no longer carry this pathetic self-deception any further. Night after night, I had forced myself to play this maddening game, but on this night, I knew it must end. I could not walk by that door one more time. I would look at it no more. I would not allow it to rebuke me. Let it rot behind lock and key. I would never look at it again. Why should I? I discovered the meaning of true freedom, the sort Harry talked about. I was free from the ravages of age and decay, free to search out new adventure, new sensations. Why not enjoy them?
Oh, where's Harry?
I'm by myself. Harry's told me a lot about you. He's explained certain things about your daughter.
Yeah, that's nothing to you.
But I'm interested in such things.
You.
You see, I only want to help.
Harry shouldn't have told you. All right.
Marianne. Marianne, I brought someone. A friend.
Victor! Victor!
I'd forgotten. Of course, Victor wasn't here anymore. I'd had to let him go. I was sorry because he'd served my family for many years. But there'd be no choice. Victor had known too much. He'd known there was something in the nursery. Suppose some night while I was away, he decided to find out what. I couldn't risk that. I could trust no one in the house alone now.
What are you doing?
Sir?
I told you that room was not to be disturbed.
Yes, sir. I remember now.
Get your things and get out.
But, sir...
Get out! Your money and references will be sent. Go!
Yes.
No one. I could trust no one. It had been 2 years since I last dared look upon the thing beyond that door. Yet I knew too well what it must look like. Features seared by every evil passion. The dry and desiccated lines of a face scarred by every emotion but pity. Would it be as terrible as I feared, or less awful than I dared believe? As always since that night, when I had finally locked it away, I was torn. Torn between a sense of scorn for the damned unnatural thing and the ceaseless desire to know, to see, to read from the page of my own degradation.
Yes, what is it? Basil. Come in.
I won't keep you long. I'll be leaving for Paris within the hour. But I thought it important that I talk to you first. Thank you.
To Paris, you say? On business?
Yes, I intend to take a studio there. Work on a painting I've had in mind.
Can I offer you a drink? A whiskey? Some sherry?
No, nothing, thanks. I may be gone for quite some time. I'm not sure for how long. I've sent Beatrice to visit her aunt in Canada.
How is she? Beatrice?
She seems well. Of course, a 7-year-old girl is a bit of a mystery for an old bachelor like me.
I imagine.
She still asks about you sometimes. It's been almost 2 years since you last came to visit.
So long? I hadn't realized.
Well, that isn't why I came.
Why did you?
Because I thought you ought to know that people have begun to say some dreadful things about you. Dreadful.
Don't tell me them. I love to hear scandal about other people, but my own lacks the charm of novelty.
I'm serious, Dorian. Of course, I have only to look at you to know that it can't possibly be true. Sin is a thing that writes itself across a man's face. It cannot be concealed. Dorian, you must remember that a man's good name is the most important thing he has.
Is it?
I don't want you to destroy yours, and that's what you're doing. For example, could you possibly tell me why it is that Henry Ashton found it necessary to leave England so suddenly last year? Or why it is that a man like the Duke of Berwick leaves the room of a club whenever you enter it? Or why Adrian Singleton... Enough!
You're talking of things you do not understand.
Dorian, I want to understand. I want to be able to defend you, but I can't look into your soul.
Would you like to?
What?
See my soul. After all, why not? You've had more to do with the matter than anyone. You've a right to see the result.
What do you mean?
Merely that I keep a diary of my life, from day to day. A different kind of diary. It never leaves the room in which it's written. Come. I'll show it to you. In here. This will only take a minute. You'll be able to read the whole matter more quickly than you think. Here is the face of my soul.
My painting of you. What have you done to it? You've destroyed it.
Have you any idea what my life has been since you painted that foul thing? See how it mocks me, how it reproaches me. The sight turns me sick. Even locked away in this room, it haunts me. I know it watches me. It knows what I've done, what I'm doing, and its vile features alter with every sin I commit, every pain I inflict. It even knows my plans. I've seen it change in response to deeds not yet done. Yet it knows.
It's not possible. And yet, if what you say is true, there's no help for you. You're not even human anymore. You...
What? Tell me, Basil.
You're a monster.
You say that. You, who painted the accursed thing. You created it. It's your fault. Look what you've done to me! Why had I done it? What had possessed me? Why had I killed the one man who wished me well? I was alone now. Totally alone. No! Oh, God, no! Be quiet, you idiots.
I can remember the panic I'd felt at first, the sheer horror of what I'd done. At moments, I wondered if all this was a nightmare, one from which I'd wake. Other moments, I wondered if I'd gone mad.
Hurry up. You mustn't be seen.
It had taken all the nerve I possessed to do what had to be done. Fortunately, I'd known where to find men for such a job. Men whose lives were so empty and miserable that the life of another meant nothing. Meant less, at least, than the money I gave them to dispose of poor Basil. Men like those were safe. They were too fearful of their own safety to expose anyone else. With Basil gone, it was as though an enormous burden had been lifted from me. I was safe. The one link to my past and to the picture was broken. I was alone now as few men are alone, and free as no man before me had ever been. Free to live. Completely. The years passed, and as they did, I held my life close to the flame of experience and was not burned.
Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Gray. And you, Sir Harry, your presence always adds to the occasion.
A delightful evening, Lady Narborough.
You must come and take tea with me soon. Will you promise?
Of course. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Sir Harry.
Charming woman. One sees in her the remains of a truly remarkable homeliness.
That's hardly a sin.
Oh, on the contrary. It's one of the 7 deadly virtues. I presume you're going on to the club. Would you be so good as to drop me at home on your way?
Certainly.
I would come with you, but I'm feeling a bit tired. I wish I knew your secret.
What?
Well, of how you've kept your youth. I think I'd do anything to look as well as you do, except to exercise, diet, and keep respectable hours. It's extraordinary, really. I'm not that many years older than you, and yet you don't seem to have changed at all.
I've changed a great deal, I'm afraid.
Not in your appearance. You still remind me of when I first met you at Basil Hallward's, and what was that, nearly 20 years ago? Strange.
What is?
About Basil's disappearance. Did you hear anything more about that?
No.
I had heard a rumor that he'd been seen in San Francisco. Of course, they say that about anyone who's disappeared. It must be the most delightful place with all the attractions of the next world.
Let's not talk about Basil. It depresses me.
I'm sorry. I only thought of it because I hear that his niece has just returned. And what was her name?
Beatrice.
Oh, yes, that's it. She's been living with relatives in Canada, I mean.
Why is she here?
Well, she comes into Basil's fortune on her 25th birthday. It's considerable, I think.
Where did you hear all this?
From Lady Woodton. They met somewhere and told each other all they knew over tea.
Does she intend to stay?
My dear boy, how on earth should I know? I presume you could ask her yourself. She seems most anxious to meet you.
No.
Why on earth not? She was very fond of him as a child, I believe.
I don't want to see her. I can't. I don't want to be reminded of all that.
Well, it's entirely up to you. The lady wouldn't have planned a luncheon. I'll tell her to cancel it naturally. Good night, Dorian.
This hour? No, sir. It's too far for me.
There's twice that much for you if we're there within the hour.
You know what place this is, sir? I mean, where it's at?
I know.
You'll be there in an hour.
Hurry up, do you hear? In all the years since it had happened, the memory of Basil's death still haunted me. Sometimes at night, or even awake, I'd seem to hear his final blood-choked cry. And then I'd remember. I'd remember the hideous thing hidden behind locked doors in my home. The picture, unnatural mirror of my soul. And remembering, dread would rise in me like a sickness, a fear that might have been of death, but that seemed equally a horror of what my life had been. At such times, I was driven back to the sinkholes of the city, to the only recesses where there were shadows deep enough to hide me from myself. Here I sought not a cure for my malady, merely a few hours of oblivion.
Dorian.
You.
They told me you was here. Your friend's inside. Something the matter, you better come.
Go away.
But he's your friend.
Friend?
He's sick or something, I don't know.
Where is he?
Come on.
Alan. Fetch me some water. Alan, what's the matter? This? Fetch us a hansom, have it ready at the door.
He owes me a guinea.
Get us a cab!
Can you stand?
Leave me alone, Gray.
I'll help you.
Dorian, you dirty cheat! I hope you rot! You hear me?
What did you call him? His name! Say it!
Dorian, I don't know the rest.
Dorian it was. Not many with that name. Steady, mate. Move too quick and your throat's cut. That's it. Easy. Don't worry, you've got time to make your peace with God. I'd give a dog that much.
What do you want? My pocketbook? Take it.
No. I'll take your life.
Who are you?
Vane. James Vane. Brother of the girl you killed. Oh, you remember now, don't you?
Let go.
No, I've waited too long for this. I was in Australia when she died. I didn't hear how it happened till I got back. And then I begun looking for you.
How long?
All I heard was your first name, but it was enough. I knew you'd come to places like this. I knew that sooner or later...
How long since she died?
You know the answer.
Tell me!
18 years, and I'd have waited twice as long.
Look at my face!
I've no need to look.
Look at me!
Am I the man? Could I have known your sister 18 years ago?
Oh, my God. And I almost... God help me.
You fool. You meant to kill me.
I didn't know. I'm sorry. It's just that I've searched so long.
Let this be a warning to you. You, cab!
I was watching you. Why didn't you kill him? He's got lots of money, and he's bad as bad.
I don't want money. I want a man's blood. But not his. The man I'm looking for must be 40 now. Maybe older.
And how old do you think he is, eh?
Him? Not more than his 20s. Well, I seen him. Here, stop it. And what are you laughing at? What do you know about this?
I'll tell you about your sister, if you're the man you say you are. And about a lad who looked the same 20 years ago as he does now. How about a drink, eh? Come on.
Ah, there you are, dear boy. Do come in.
Good afternoon, Lady Narborough. I'm not late, I hope.
You are. But I forgive you. Fortunately, I've had delightful company while waiting. Mr. Gray, may I introduce Miss Beatrice Horwood? Miss Horwood, Mr. Dorian Gray.
Mr. Gray and I have met.
Have you?
I shouldn't blame him for not wanting to admit it. We were quite shameless. I used to sit on his lap. He used to tell...
Mr. Gray! Dorian! Dorian, are you all right?
Yes, of course. I'm afraid I've broken something.
You're as white as a ghost. Come sit down.
It's nothing.
Oh.
I do hope I haven't offended you.
No, of course not. I felt lightheaded. I'm quite all right.
Here, have some tea. Did you lunch today? I thought not. Now, where is that foolish girl with our scones? No. You both sit here. I'll fetch her.
Thank you.
Do you feel better?
Yes.
I thought for a moment.
What?
You seemed so shocked to see me. I thought you might be afraid I'd come to hold you to your promise. To marry me.
Oh.
It's quite all right, really. I release you.
Thank you.
It isn't easy. I remember you as a cross between St. George, Sir Lancelot, and Prince Charming. And you don't seem to have changed at all. You look exactly as I remember you. I'm afraid I must have been a great bother to you.
You weren't. Are you staying in London?
I rather plan to. I'll have the house redone in any case. If I don't stay, I can always sell it.
Yes, it was a good house.
I'm leaving the studio as it was, but it's such fun fixing up the rest, refurnishing, repainting, replacing some of those awful old fixtures with new ones. You must come and see it when it's done, of course. I shall have an enormous housewarming and invite all of London. You will come, won't you?
Yes. Yes, of course. In the meantime, I'd be honored if you would dine with me.
I failed to see the problem. If she finds you attractive and you're attracted to her, what could be simpler?
You don't understand. She was raised differently and she's very vulnerable. A woman in some ways, a child in others.
My dear boy, I've seen this child of yours.
Scoff if you like. But I'm determined not to do anything that would hurt her.
Nothing is less permanent than the wounds of love. I had an impassioned affair once, all one season. Years later, I found myself next to the woman in question at dinner. She insisted on going over the whole episode, assuring me that I'd ruined her life. I'm bound to report she ate a simply enormous meal while telling me.
I don't find that amusing, Harry. Your cynicism isn't always in the best of taste.
No, nor is going about like a revivalist, condemning all the sins of which you've grown tired. Might I have my things?
I didn't mean it that way. I merely meant that if there were to be anything between Beatrice Hallwood and myself, I think it would change me. It would change my way of life.
In anticipation of which you are unable to accompany me to the theater tonight to meet two extremely appealing young people.
But tonight I have
other plans, you told me. Oh, love must have its season. Fly to your Beatrice. But I'll save one of my young friends for you, just in case.
Put out my dinner clothes, Hubble. After that, you may go.
Oh, how heavenly. It's laburnum, isn't it? Oh, I haven't smelled them since I was little. Everything seems to be coming back to me now. Everything I remember having loved.
Beatrice.
What is it? Have I done something?
You? Of course not. It's just there are things I haven't told you about myself, is all.
I know. You're very bad. Dreadful, in fact. You have the most awful influence on anyone who comes near you. From the moment I arrived in London, people practically stood in line to warn me about you, to hint at what they thought you'd done, or what you might have been, or just possibly would know about, which seems to be almost everything.
You don't believe them?
How could I? I know you.
But you don't.
Better than you know yourself. What is it?
They were right. Whatever they told you, whatever anyone said about me, no matter how shocking, the truth...
How can you say such things? Do you really think me so weak and foolish? Do you think I don't know how it would be for a man like you? Do you think I know nothing of jealousies and pettiness and the sort of things that envious people might say? I do. Nothing you've done, nothing you've been, nothing that happened before can ever matter now. All that belongs to two other people, the people we were.
You're sure?
Dorian, darling, I've waited for you for as much of my life as I can remember. Everything that matters begins from this day. The past can't touch us now.
Evening to you, Mr. Dorian Gray. Didn't expect to see me again, did you? Shut your gob. Any talking's to be done, I'm the one to do it. Inside. This is better. No one to disturb us here.
You seem to forget the servants.
Your man comes in the morning and leaves at night. There's no one else. That's right. I know quite a bit about you now. Sit down. Finding out wasn't hard. Not after I run into some old friends of yours. If even half what they say about you's true, you're quite a lad, you are.
You've been to a lot of trouble, it seems, just to kill me.
Killing's easy. I can do that any time.
Meanwhile, there may be a bit of profit in what you've learned. Blackmail? Is that what you're thinking?
Why not? Haven't I spent my time looking for you? Lost my chances to get on a bit? Why shouldn't I have some of it back from you, I'd like to know?
Why should I pay you? If you know much about me, you know that nothing can make my reputation worse than it already is.
People don't know everything. They don't know about you and my sister.
Your sister? If only Sybil were the worst thing I had on my conscience. A girl that killed herself for love of me. In a way, I suppose it is the worst. But not for your purposes. Put that thing down while I get us a drink.
How about that fancy lady you're engaged to get married to? Does she know everything about you too?
As a matter of fact, she does.
Well, that don't seem hardly possible, do it? Nice lady like her. Maybe she only thinks she knows. Wonder how she'd like it if anyone was to introduce her to some of your friends on the East Side. I'd actually like to hear about you from Hook. Or from the Badger. How'd she like to take tea some afternoon with Felicia's daughter, Mary Ann, eh?
How much do you want?
£1,000.
1,000?
You got it, now don't tell me you ain't.
If you've learned as much about me as you say, you know better. You know about my gambling debts at least, and those are the smallest of the lot.
You're lying.
Am I? It takes money to live the way I have done all these years. Extraordinary amounts of it. I had a lot at one time, but that was long ago.
Get it from your friends.
I'm borrowed to the hilt. I can't...
Get it! I don't care where. Get it from her if you have to. Yes. That sort of thing's right off your platter, isn't it? Taken from the ladies. Well, she'll never miss it. She's got plenty, I hear.
You don't know what you're asking.
I'll give you a week.
A week?
Have the money by then, or you can forget about marrying your Miss Horwood. Because she won't like you so much when I'm finished. £1,000, remember? In 1 week.
I wish you'd tell me. Even though you think I'd worry, anything would be better than being left out.
Would it?
Don't you trust me?
I don't know. Yes, of course I do. The question is, can I trust myself? Am I strong enough? I know we agreed the past would have no hold on us, but I'm not sure that's possible. Can I escape what I am? What I have been? Or has fate already decided for me?
No, please, don't talk that way. You frighten me.
I'm sorry.
Darling?
What?
I've been thinking. Why stay in London? Why not get away from all of the people and all of the places that have bad memories? Far away. Why not leave England?
Leave? I'm not sure I could.
Why not?
Various ties, obligations. My house, for one thing, I couldn't part with it.
You could always close it up.
Yes. Yes, I could, couldn't I? Would you come with me? Would you be willing to leave England?
Oh, how silly you are. What's England to me? The only happiness I knew here was with you and Uncle Basil. He's gone now. There's only you.
Then you'd be willing.
I'll put this house up for sale. And afterward...
After what?
Dorian.
Miss Horwood. At the risk of being forward, and though it shows unseemly presumption, would you grant me the honor of your hand in marriage?
Beatrice's suggestion had given me an idea. I would close the house, yes, but I would do more than that. I would seal the room containing the picture, close it so that no one would ever enter again. After that, there would remain only one real problem. What to do about Mr. James Vane? For the time being, there was little choice. If the slightest chance remained for me to escape from the picture and its curse, it was with Beatrice. I could risk anything but the loss of her love. I had to pay. Not all the money at once, of course. Only enough each time to ensure continued silence and whet his appetite for more. I needed time. Time while Beatrice's lawyers arranged the sale of her property. Time in which to settle the details of our forthcoming marriage. And time to determine what to do about James Vane.
Come. Alan, this is good of you. Thank you for coming.
Your note said a matter of life and death.
So it is. Sit down and I'll tell you. Have you breakfasted?
Yes, some time ago.
Oh, forgive me for not getting up. I twisted my ankle last night. It isn't serious.
Gray, you know perfectly well I swore never to set foot in this house again. I came because your man insisted. Now, what is it?
I said sit down, Alan. Now then, listen carefully. In a locked room just down the hall, there is a dead man. Wait. He's been dead approximately 10 or 11 hours. Who he is, why he died, how he died, these things don't concern you.
Gray, if you're serious...
Quite serious.
I don't want to know more. Your horrible secrets don't interest me.
This one will have to interest you. I'm awfully sorry, Alan, but you're the one man who can help me. I'm to be married in a few days, and I don't have time to go looking for assistance. And even if I dared take the risk, it has to be you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's very simple. A man is dead. A nobody. No close friends, no relatives. I'm positive no one saw him come here, and of course no one must see him leave. Now then, you're a scientist. You know all about chemistry and that sort of thing. What you must do is destroy the evidence. Every trace...
Oh, my God.
Sit down.
You're mad, Dorian.
Sit down. I was waiting for you to call me Dorian.
This is monstrous. I'll have nothing to do with it.
Alan, I couldn't help myself. It was self-defense. This man meant to destroy me. Threatened to kill me, was going to ruin everything.
I'm sorry.
You refuse?
Of course I refuse.
You can't refuse.
Even if I wanted to help you, I wouldn't do a thing like this. And I have no desire to help you.
Alan, I beg you, I entreat you.
Goodbye.
Brighton. Pembroke. Sir William Nolan. I'm awfully sorry, Alan, but I did try to spare you. Didn't I? I pleaded with you as I've pleaded with no man. Now I must dictate. Oh, come now, the thing is quite simple. You've worked with cadavers countless times in your profession. I merely ask you to use your skills.
I can't.
You must.
I'll need to go home. There are some things I must get from my laboratory.
I think it would be better if you didn't leave the house till the job is done. You can write out a list of the things you want, and my servant will take it round. Your man or someone can give him what you need. Take us away, Frederick. Oh, and bring me a sheet of notepaper and a pen. After that, I have an errand for you. Are you sure you don't want anything for breakfast?
Best of luck, my child.
Thank you. Will you excuse me?
Charming.
I'm glad you approve.
Oh, I approve of any new experience. And marriage certainly is an experience.
I had no choice, really. I love her.
My dear boy, I love art. But I don't need to own every picture I admire.
Same old Harry.
And the same old Dorian, I suspect.
What do you mean?
Now tell me the truth. Would you have married the girl if Basil's fortune hadn't come into the bargain?
I resent that.
You do? Oh, then you have changed.
I've begun a new existence, Harry. I mean to be a better person. Marrying Beatrice is the first step towards a decent life, and I mean to be faithful to her.
Oh, yes, I know. How is it the young men want to be faithful and are not, and old men want to be unfaithful and cannot? Oh, come, come. I'm only teasing. You know I don't mean half I say.
You mean half of it?
Oh, Dorian, how happy you are. What an exquisite life you've had. How glad I am that you've never created anything. You've never carved a statue or painted a picture. Life has been your art. You've drunk deeply of everything. Nothing has been hidden from you. And yet you are still the same. Still quite flawless.
This will be the final entry in this doleful journal. Tomorrow we close the house and leave England for good. Then workmen will close the nursery entrance, and my long ordeal will end.
Dory,
Yes, my dear.
why are you up? It's very late.
I couldn't sleep. I thought I'd get a little work done. Just details. You go to bed.
Will you come soon?
Very soon.
I've grown spoiled.
I'll be in soon.
How she loves me. In marrying her, I know I've done a truly good thing at last. Harry was wrong. A bitter, cynical man. He always was. I see that now. I wonder. Surely the picture should show some proof of my love. Not a great change, perhaps. There's too much to atone for. But a beginning. A line or a wrinkle less. Something to indicate what my future can be.
It was worse. That sneering laugh. It knew. It knew I had married Beatrice. To escape, of course. I didn't love her. I didn't love anything. How could I, so long as this foul thing existed? So long as it knew every secret corner of my heart and of my brain, it would haunt me wherever I went, whatever I did, until it destroyed me.
or I destroyed it.
Destiny, they say, is written in the stars. All he'll ever do, all he'll ever love, all he'll ever be. And once written, they say, it can never be changed. If this be true, as I now suppose it must, then only one question remains. Who does the writing? If I knew the answer to that, if I could be sure, then I would know whether to curse God for what my life has been, or praise the devil.